Hello and welcome in this new video dedicated to Lychee Slicer. Today I will try to explain you the full process of preparing your first 3D model for a resin printer. Then it will be very basic and it will be focused around the magic functionality of the application. Of course, I will not explain how to select your first printer or also how to choose your parameters, your resin parameters for your 3D printer, because I covered that already in the overview video and also in the community resin profile video. Then please don't forget to look at the full playlist. I will add more and more videos over the time. And of course, subscribe to the channel to be just aware of these new videos when they will be added to the playlist. Okay, now let's start. And I will just click on this chicken model that you can find in the library of Lychee Slicer. Please try to do this video, this exercise with the same model like that. It should be, let's say, similar. And also for your first print, try as much as possible to start with simple models. Don't start with something which may be crazy. You may have some frustration by, let's say, having failed prints. Okay, anyway, I'm in the layout section, and if you look closely, you have just on the tool palette on the left, at the end, the magic functionality. And if you go in prepare section, you will also find the magic button. It's exactly the same functionality. Click on it, and you will find multiple options. The first one is the auto orientation to find the best orientation for your 3D model, the auto support, the optimization of support, which is the parenting, the bracing support, the raft, and all of that is based on support presets, which can be the light, medium, and heavy preset. I will talk about that a little bit later. And then you have this I'm feeling lucky button. You click on it, and Lychee Slicer will try to find what could be the best orientation for your model and adding all the support, doing the optimization. And you see after a few seconds, it's done. I would say at this level, I could print my 3D model. Okay, it should be fine. And there is a high chance that it will be a successful print. But the orientation may be not the best one. Why? Just because the auto orientation in Lychee Slicer is more optimized for, let's say, mechanical types models and not really organic style model. Because you know that it's a chicken. You know where is the head, where are the eyes, the wings, and feet, and etc. Then you can start again. Let me just do a Control-Z. Clicking again this Feeling Lucky, and this orientation may be quite interesting. Okay, I have a lot of support on the base and few supports here and there, but a lot of support, especially on the eye, on the front side. Even if the auto orientation can work well for the organic model, the best is for you to define this orientation of the model. Let me just do a Control-Z, and I'm in the rotation tool. And I will do just tilting slightly my model like that to its back, like this. And why tilting the model? First, because it's not good to print a 3D model directly on the build plate for multiple reasons. The first one is if you want, when you will remove your print, there is a big chance that you may break the base of your model with the spatula, or also because the first layers are overcured, overexposed, they just inflate way more and you may lose some details or maybe something good. Then while it's very common to print on the bed on filament printers, for resin printers, most of the time it's better to print directly on supports. Then I do this orientation for another reason. Okay, let me just do Control-Z, like that. And imagine that model, okay, I will just raise it like this, because I want just to have support below, and not doing this tilt angle. Why? I don't know. Okay. Now if I go on prepare section, and I'm using this clipping bar to see the cross section of the model, like that you can see the model. I don't have any support for now, but if you look closely by using the up arrow key, this is all the cross section, each layer that will be printed. And the first one is a big layer. Even if you put support down your model, there is a big chance of deformations because it's a big chunk of resin that the build plate will need to unstick from the FEP to peel this process. This is way too big. That's why if we give an angle, let me just do this orientation like before, let's say like that, I go back in prepare, and now if you look at that, you see it's a very tiny portion of the cross section of the model which will be printed by itself with few supports, and it will be printed in a more progressive way, of course, to reach quite a large cross section like you can see here. But when it will arrive at this step, you will already have a lot of supports and already a lot of printing part just below which will support all these top layers. Then it's better to have a very progressive way to print each layers one by one and not having big chunk of layers which will appear. And I will come back when I will speak about support in a few minutes about these angles. Then this is the best to give such orientation like that. And okay, let's do this magic functionality. I will switch off the auto orientation. We'll leave everything else. I click on this, I'm feeling lucky. And now all my support have been created, and I should be good to go to print, export my model. But like I told you during the introduction, you can have a little bit of control if you want on supports. The first thing is, okay, now I'm in prepare section, and in the support tool, and my current preset of support is medium, the same that I was using in magic functionality. If I want to use magic in light, it will use this light preset there. Be very, very careful with that. A lot of newcomers think that, okay, using medium support, it will be a large tip, and by default, I think this is 0.6 millimeters, and I'm on my computer on 0.5 millimeters. Okay, that's too thick. Let's go to 0.35 millimeters. Like that, it will be less visible. Okay, but if you don't prepare well your support, you don't have the best parameters, the big risk is that you will have your support will just break during the peeling process. And this is where you have at the end of your print all the supports on your build plate and a chunk of resin in your resin tank because your support just broke. Something which is very, very important, don't try to save resin by minimizing the support. Consider that it's better to have more support and thicker tip diameters to start with, and with more experience, you will lower the size of your supports and the thickness of your supports, and of course the tip size of your supports. Then don't be greedy on resin, I would say. It's better to work that way. And what I wanted to tell you is that I have multiple types of supports, and what is very important to know is that you have in 3D printing, resin 3D printing, three main types of support. Visually speaking, they are the same, but the purpose is not the same. You have what we call support for islands. It's when you have, let's say, like my fingers, and you need to print them. You see they are just floating in the air. You need to have a support which will just connect to this top of the finger to be sure it will just grow and print successfully. Then these support are quite important. Each time you see an island, you need to have some supports. Then you will have supports for this overhang, like my jaw, not with my jaw, but this part, so I don't know that in English. Then you have a very, very flat angle. Then, like I explained just before for this base, having few supports just to assist and avoiding having deformations. Perhaps you already saw that in your print when you print flat model close to the horizontal or with very, very low angle, that you have some deformations, type of waves or like a small deformation around the support. It's because there is not enough supports or supports are missing. Then these supports are quite important when you have very, very low angles for your 3D print. And at the end, what I call support for stabilization. This is what you see there and there, all around like that. This support are just to keep your model, let's say, in place, to be sure it will not move. Why? Because each time the printer is peeling your print, a lot of vertical forces are applied. Of course, also it can go up and down, a lot of movement. If your model is moving slightly on the side, even a few microns, it will be visible. This is, if it's very, very few microns, you will see some waves. If it's more than few microns, you may have a kind of line which appears on your model because your model just moves between two layers. Then these support are quite important. But sometimes you can say, oh, perhaps this support, this one is really on the top, not that useful. You can click on it to select it, press the delete key, and you can remove your support like that. Saying this one, I can remove it, and perhaps, okay, this one. But like I said before, better to have more support than not enough. And if I go down my model, I may have enough support, but I like when it's very stable. That's why I will add support all around the base, because the wider it will be for the support, the stable my print will be, like I explained before. Then you can just click on your model to add very quickly some supports, manual supports, like that. And you see the raft, which has been added by the magic functionality, has been updated to follow this new supports, the boundary of this new support which have been added. And now my model is ready to be exported. I go in the export section, and you have your parameters. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing before. A strong advice, if you go in the prepare section, the support tool, you have the island detector, run it. After a few seconds, it will analyze the 3D models and display, oh, there is one island which has been detected. Sometime this is, you can skip it. Let me click on the show button, and you see here, I have a small island. Let me use this clipping bar, like that. And you see, I have a support, and the support has been created just slightly on the side of the island. To be honest, you can skip such island, because you see this is few pixels which connect to the other pixels on the next layer. This is very, very invisible, I would say. But if you want to play safe, and just go down here, and you can even click and drag like that the tip of your support, and then you supported better this island. Then this is quite important to have a look at this island and see if something goes wrong. If it's very close to the model, it's not very important, but if it's, let's say, a big part of your model, like I said before, a finger or something like that, it's better to add supports. Anyway, I go to export, and now I can define the options that I want. By default, this is the printer I selected, a Lego Saturn 3 Ultra. My resin is a Ceratec Fast Navy Gray at 50 microns, the preset I'm using. And what you have to do is to define the anti-aliasing that you will use. If you are using, like this one, a very, very accurate printer with very small pixels, you don't really need to have an anti-aliasing, but if you want to use one, the best is the smooth surfaces. I won't go into detail, leave as is for the parameters, should be fine. And you have also the HD anti-aliasing functionality. Please be careful. This one is using a lot of GPU power. Then be careful if you have a not high-end computer. You can leave on off, or you can leave on like mine. And then click on the export slice to file. And you will see now the computation of your slice with your model. I really like looking at that to see if something going wrong or not. Multiple times I found mistakes I did by just looking at all this layer one by one. And of course, when it's done, you just need to copy your files exported by Lychee Slicer on your USB stick, and then copy to your printer, start your print, and if things goes well, after a couple of hours, you should have your chicken ready to be painted. Of course, you need to remove your support before, but it should be fine at this stage to have your 3D model in your hands. Then I hope this basic workflow has been useful for you. I know it's a lot of steps. You can skip all the manual supports in Lychee Slicer. You can just use the manual rotation and then the magic functionality without the auto orientation, exporting, and it should be fine for most of the time. I know a lot of people are using this magic functionality, and then after that are doing minor editing for the support by adding and removing support before exporting. Then you can experiment with that. It should be quite helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to be sure that you will be able to follow all my new tutorials dedicated to Lychee Slicer and other videos over the time. Don't forget to leave your comments, and see you soon in other video dedicated to Lychee Slicer. Bye bye.